What is up? What is up?
Hey man, long time no talk.
Yeah, bro. I mean, kind of left for like a couple years. It tends to happen,
Yeah,
yeah.
man. I had to learn my inner Togashi. I had to channel it.
Oh, word, word. I mean, I,
Yeah.
I guess if we're going off what you say about Hunter x Hunter, that means when you come back, you're about to drop some fire.
Oh yes, man. Coming back with those reviews.
Damn. Okay, okay. You need to power up all the time off, all spent fucking meditating,
Yeah.
meditating in the
Yeah, man. Like
wilderness.
my back hurts for carrying Discord so much.
Shit. I mean, from the stories I've heard about the Hunter x Hunter chat, I believe it. I believe it. But
Rest in peace, by the way. Rest in peace, Hunter x Hunter chat.
oh, they actually took it away.
They took it away, man. I'm so sad.
Damn, bro. They couldn't have kept it up for 2 years, man. You were only gone
They
for two
couldn't keep it up
years.
for 2 years.
What's wrong with them?
I was gone for 2 years, and it's man.
Already. But
What's even sadder is that it's been 2 years and there's been no chapter. Although I'm 8 chapters behind, but that's so sad.
yeah, that's pretty troll. I mean, I thought Togashi was at least gonna do his 8 chapters a year type shit.
I know, right? That was a good schedule at least. Give us at least like 10 chapters a year. Like we can't complain about that.
I still don't understand why you can't just let someone else do the drawing. I don't understand the whole pride thing behind it.
Yeah, I don't get it either. He can do everything. Like he can do the what one does from One Punch Man. He draws all the manuscripts and all that stuff, and then Murata he draws the rest. So that's what Tagashi can do. It could be exactly as he envisions it, but just somebody else draws it. But still, he's sticking to that pride.
Not gonna lie, if Murata did the art for Hunter x Hunter, I'd read it. I'd read
Oh, yeah, man, that guy is amazing.
Yeah, but so do you want to talk about why you were gone?
um, nah.
Nah. Okay.
I'll just say that I made some rash vows. That's all I'll say. But I'm better now, mature now, and yeah, I'm past it.
'Cause I heard like some religious type shit. That's what I heard. People didn't really
I
talk
thought it
about it
was
that much.
religious, but I thought it was religious, but it wasn't really. No. When I really look back on it, it was more so me being misguided, and
Mm.
I've learned a lot since then.
All right, that's good. Always good to learn.
Yeah,
But yeah, so what do you want to talk about then? Do you want to talk about Kingdom?
hecky greatness, my man.
Ah,
Oh,
shit. Here
I
we go
wasn't ready
again.
for that.
Some
I
things never
wasn't ready.
change.
For... like when I made that bet with Twale like years ago, I thought that he was going to kill some general or some like commander guy. I never knew he was going to kill the king of the Wolf Clan. That was insane.
Did you come back for like a day just to react to that and like rub it in my face? I thought you did.
I didn't know.
Okay, because
That's
yeah,
that's why I'm
I
like,
actually talked about it with Twale. We brought it up recently because he was like, "Man, you could have argued against that because Baggio did this and that." He's like, "You didn't have to," because I ended up wearing the Hecky avatar. He's like, "You didn't have to
you
do
did.
that." Yeah, and I was like, "Bro, I mean, yeah, I could have made arguments, but what I thought was gonna happen with Hecky was so far below what happened that I was like, I don't even care. I'll fucking rock the avatar." It was like something with it was like a meme. Like he had some shades on. It was when he came out of the tent. I think you
Yeah,
know
yeah,
about the
yeah,
meme. Yeah, yeah. I rocked
yeah.
that for like a week, and I didn't spend any time on Discord, so no one cared.
It is what it is, man. I won the bet, even though I wasn't here for it. I left at the worst possible time. Ah, I wish I saw that.
Yeah, it would have been yeah, I was trying to bring Twale to this too. You didn't answer, but it would have been funny to see you and Twale bicker back and forth. Though I wouldn't have wanted Hecky fucking arguing for like 20 minutes. So
We're not gonna do that. I love Hecky, man, but it's more of a meme at this point. It was always a meme. I gotta be real now. I liked Hecky, but I liked him more so because everybody else disliked him. So I wanted to be the devil's advocate there.
yeah, I think you're explaining Sanji fanism basically. But yeah,
You think so?
I don't know, man. I mean,
He has a lot of fans. That's why.
no, I know what you mean, and it's kind of weird because I feel like if you dig deeper into his character, it's kind of hard to get behind, but people like the surface level shit. Like he's loyal to the Strats, he's cool. Chivalry is like honorable if you just like look at it in a very broad context. And I think they just go off that. But I've shit on Sanji's character a lot, and I just think like when you go deeper into what his characterization implies, it's like it's kind of indefensible in a way. But yeah, that's just me.
Say that.
It's just, well, the chivalry on one hand is like, I just think that in itself is like an outdated concept, especially with shit we've like seen like even women getting into MMA and shit, and it's just in a way it's kind of like looking down on them, like they just don't have the mental capacities, I guess, because it's not about like a physical strength difference, because men like they'll bully people that are weaker than them all the time, and they won't really have a problem with it, but then when it gets to hitting a woman, like now it's like a whole nother thing. So it's kind of like you're just looking down on their mental toughness in a way. You're like, because they're a woman, they just can't handle this or that. And it's the way he treats them in a sense where it's like this is again like just looking down on them as people, I feel like, because it's like he just wants to coddle them. It's kind of like that how the Egyptians treat cats, where like they just think like they're meant to just sit there and just be worshipped. So
random. Yeah.
Yeah, like they're just like there to be like worshipped in a sense. Like
Yeah,
I don't know. I just feel like he doesn't treat them as humans. He just treats them as something there to coddle.
So, in your view, like chivalry is like something that men do because they think women are inferior?
It depends. There's levels to it, of course. There's more nuance to it than that, but generally, I feel like you kind of feel like because they're women, they shouldn't have to deal with as much struggles as men do. And if you like,
you like
go
respond
ahead.
to somebody saying that, hey, it's just me wanting to be nice to someone. Do you still view that chivalry as bad?
No, but then I mean, if you consider like if you do it for the same for men, I would have no problem with that.
Okay, because I know chivalry has something. I forget how it was in history. I know it has to do with something about knights. So I would assume it was for everybody, not just women. But that's how chivalry was translated in modern.
But yeah, every time I've heard of chivalry, it was always in the context of with women. So
Yeah.
I never really thought about it like that. And every time someone brings it up, I'm just automatically gonna assume it's about women.
So you're against Sanji's way of chivalry because wait, didn't Oda say in the SBS that it's not like sometimes Sanji does want to hit women, he just physically can't?
He said something like that, but it's at the end of the day, it's not like Zoro's like inability to find the right way. Like it's an emotional reaction because that's what he believes. And on top of that, like he does shit that straight up contradicts the chivalry. Like like not even just what I was talking about. Like you're treating them like they're not humans. Like they're just beings that deserve to be pampered too. You can't like treat them like a human. Like when he came back to Sabaody and he was just sniffing Prona. Yeah, he's just sniffing her ass, and it's like shit like that. Like how chivalrous are you if you know that should make her very uncomfortable and you just don't care. Like his perversion at the end of the day,
like 2 years like around dudes. Like,
I know, but it's just a thing in general where his perversion at the end of the day is like rank supreme. You know what I mean? And that in itself is kind of contradictory.
I do think Oda is like leaning on that trope more so now than ever, and I don't know why. But Sanji's perversion is practically his whole character now, and I don't understand why.
Yeah, and then there's also I just think like there's some good things in theory that can come from it. Like Sanji in general, like he's a character that you're supposed to be like he's unwavering in his beliefs. Like he won't even use his arms in combat because he doesn't want to injure his hands. And he has this belief about women, so he's gonna go with that to the end. And I feel like there should be more nuance to that. And at some point you can't really you can't praise someone for sticking to their beliefs if their beliefs are shit or like they're unfounded or they just don't have good reasoning for it. Because at the end of the day, I mean, the main reason Sanji does these things is because Zeph told him not to, and Zeph gave some fucking like moronic reason, like ever since the age of dinosaurs, men aren't supposed to hit women, and like I guess his mom was nice to him and Reiju was nice to him for like such weak reasoning. Like I would expect for someone that believes in it so strongly, like they have like some well thought out fucking argument for it. Like if anything, just to like justify your own beliefs, like you would think about it really hard just to make sure you're right. But Sanji, it's like he went through no internal thought process on it. He just like, well, Zeph told me not to. Women was nice. That's all I need. And it's like, I can't really buy. If that's all that happened, like I can understand like those things being impactful to you, but if that's all that happened, it's just hard for me to buy. You like being so fucking dead set on it.
Let me ask you a question, just to segue a little bit away from Sanji.
Yeah,
Were
fuck that
you
bum.
raised by like were you raised by that mindset like don't hit a woman? Like would you hit a woman?
Uh, I actually did a stream on this.
Oh, you did.
Yes, I
Interesting.
did. Yeah, it was a pretty funny one. Uh, it was something that was never really told to me because it's just kind of common sense. Like my dad didn't
Yeah.
feel the need to tell me don't hit women because he just like felt it was understood. And I did have that mindset to a certain extent. It was definitely like less than good amount of people. Like ever since I was a kid, I would never like be okay with getting slapped or getting spit on by a woman. And I don't know if back then I thought I would hit her, but I might have just done it out of an emotional reaction. But nowadays I'm like, yeah, I mean, especially when women use that to their advantage, like slap the shit out of you because they're like, he's not gonna hit a woman. I'll be like, bitch, you must have. Yeah, I'm not even gonna go further than that, but basically, like I just
Chivalry.
hate how people abuse it today.
Yeah.
Yeah,
In a sense, that chivalry still lives even today. Because I've seen videos and stuff where women are completely in the wrong. Like they just start attacking a guy, and the guy defends himself and hits her back, and then other guys start trying to fight the guy, even if the woman's in the wrong.
yeah. I just feel
Now,
like something like that is despicable.
well, yeah, it's just because it's been ingrained in them that you shouldn't hit a woman, and you know, like I don't want to hit a woman, if I
Yeah,
can, I would restrain
I
her.
think you'd
I
have to
wouldn't
be
want.
pretty sadistic to want that to happen.
Yeah, of course. You have to be like Joker. Hey, get it? Never mind. Because we were talking about Joker anyway. This is for the YouTube video. Sorry, context. So so for me, I was always ingrained. That was always ingrained in my discipline from my parents that you shouldn't hit a woman. However, you shouldn't let anybody beat you up. You shouldn't let anybody walk over you because the moment you do, they will never stop.
Yeah,
So in a sense, when somebody is trying to take advantage of that, like there's a woman that just slaps you and thinks she can get away with it. Um, I think that's morally apprehensible, honestly.
yeah. It doesn't even have to be that specific situation. Just anyone that has a certain like power and they want to abuse it. It's just terrible.
Oh yeah, definitely, especially nowadays with our dumb politicians.
Yeah, and this might be a sadistic viewpoint, but it's almost your duty to teach that bitch a lesson because she can get in way worse trouble if she fucks with the wrong guy. Like that mindset, it almost needs to be beaten into someone. Almost. I'm not gonna say it should because that's pretty wild to say, but it's like you kind of like get that feeling because it's just such a bad thing to carry on in your life where you think you're just invincible, especially with like how many people carry guns and shit or like knives and like you'll see like videos of like someone doing the smallest shit like saying your shoes fucking look ugly and then they'll get fucking shot or something and it's like yeah, like people should be conditioned at this point to not do stupid shit, not try to fuck with people. And if you see someone that carries himself like that, like you're almost like, damn, you need to learn your lesson. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, you're lucky, you're lucky you haven't run into the wrong person.
Like where does that go wrong? Like where do you go wrong with that? Like when somebody thinks that they can abuse others. Where do you think that stems from?
Uh, that's a tough question. I mean, there could be
Only
a lot
hitting you
of
with the hard questions, man.
it could be a lot of answers. Like for a woman, I mean, to take it back to this specific example, I don't know. I guess yeah, I guess it's insecurity about their pride, I guess. Like if they've gone through shit in their life where they want to be prideful, but they feel like it's been like shot or like they haven't lived up to what they want to be. So anytime like they get challenged in the slightest way, like they feel like their pride is being attacked, and it's kind of like it triggers that mechanism, and they're like, I have to teach them. I'm not no bitch. That would be my guess. I don't know.
Oh, that's the
What was that?
kicks in. Fight or flight mechanism that kicks in. Like as soon as they feel insulted, they have to fight back, even if it's completely unjustified.
Yeah, and it's crazy because in certain situations you're like, I can't even rationalize this because how do you come to that conclusion? Like, if someone's not even really insulting you in any way,
Yeah.
and you still get that mad, it's like, what the fuck? Like, how do I even like begin to tackle this? But yeah, I would just say it's like insecurity about their pride, and it's them trying to live up to who they want to be. So they're like, I gotta do this. I gotta be that bad bitch. That would be my guess. I don't know. What do you think?
I see. Me, I think it stems from an inner, like I said, the fight or flight mechanism that kicks in with people. Like you see this all the time on the road with road rage. Like the second somebody cuts you off or something, you're so angry, you just want to hurt them, right? And why? You ever stop yourself and ask why? Is it because they almost hit you? They almost damaged you? They almost insulted you in a way? So your pride was hurt, so you have to hurt them back, or you have to do something in response to this
Yeah, I
injustice that
think
was
so.
delivered.
I mean, when you see people that get disrespected and they get so angry versus people that just don't care, I mean, obviously you can tell which side of that is the insecure side. Like you see, like for example, like a mafia man, like you disrespect him in the smallest way, and it's like kill him now. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, why are you so fucking angry about the smallest shit? I think it has to be like that, don't you think?
I remember this one story, like this one thing happened to me. I was at a party with my family, and this is when me and my cousin were really little. And my uncle insulted my cousin. He called him something stupid. I don't even remember. And my cousin was so angry. He literally jumped on my uncle and started trying to fight him. He's like 8 years old. And yeah, so I don't like. I never got that reaction that somebody has to get whenever somebody insults their pride. They have to physically assault them so that they know that, hey, that's my pride. That's not something you damage. Otherwise, I'll damage you. I just think that's a foolish mindset. And morally, it's very, very bad. Very. Would you say morally reprehensible? I use that word.
I mean, I don't even know what that means to be honest. Like, I get the gist of it, but I don't know what it would exactly entail. Like, obviously that means very bad, but I'm not sure what that specific wording would entail. But yeah, it's pretty fucked up morally if that's what you're getting at. Yeah.
Yeah. So where
Like,
did morals come from? I'm curious because I remember a long time ago. You don't like you say you don't believe in God. So I pegged you as an atheist or an agnostic. So where do you think morals come from? Told you I'm only hitting you with the hard question.
I mean, yeah, that's another tough one. It just goes to how you want to be treated. If something makes you feel bad, you wouldn't want to make someone else feel bad, and obviously you need that in a society. So it just comes from a survival instinct. Like we need to do it this way to survive, and no one fuck with each other, and then we could actually just live out our lives.
Okay, so
Maybe
you
there's
believe it
like
comes from an evolutionary standpoint?
yeah, maybe there's like some
We developed
inherent
over time.
inherent evolutionary standpoint. Yeah.
Okay. And so would you say that we develop morals over time in order for us to live as a society?
Yeah.
So why did we develop morals whereas animals didn't?
I mean, animals, all they think about is eating. All they need to do is fucking find their next food. We like can actually think more complexly, obviously, and we have
Uh, I'm
more.
thinking about my next meal right now, man. Like, come on.
Hey, bro, I mean, what are you doing on the internet speaking to me then? Go get a job. Fill out that job application, player.
No, man. I spent like all day cleaning out this huge business. It was. I'm so exhausted.
Hey, doing janitor work? I've
No,
done
I clean. I'm a window cleaner.
oh, I mean, do you get to listen to music while you do that?
I would, but I can't.
Hmm.
Apparently it's a safety issue. Whereas if I don't have like one of my senses heightened and something happens, then the job was like, hey, we warned you. So no, I'm not allowed.
What the fuck's gonna happen? Like a car just tumbling down the street, fucking goes past the sidewalk and hits you? Like, I don't
I
know.
don't know, man. I wish I could use my headphones, man.
Yeah, that's a job I considered getting because I thought maybe if I found the right place, then I can just listen to music or listen to podcasts. I want to get a
I
job that
mean,
I could just listen to streams during it.
I've been listening to books recently, and I've been really enjoying it. I know a lot of people hate like listeners and say you need to read it, you need to actually, but I find like audiobooks way easier to listen to and to consume rather than just reading it. I guess I'm a more of a visual person, and if I can just engage with it like with my own imagination rather than just reading it off the page, I find it easier. I don't know. I guess I'm a visual guy, and I've
I
been
feel
reading
you.
like Brandon Sanderson's works. It's pretty. His stuff is really good.
Sometimes when I'm reading, I just feel like you're so focused in on those lines that it's that effect where if you look away, you just see the lines in your vision. It's just like I can't just focus on that for long periods of time. Well, I can, but it's straining on the eyes in a sense.
Yeah, and the best part about audiobooks, you can do like whatever you want while you're listening to it. You can work out, you can work, you can drive. It's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. I'm more of a podcast guy, but I might listen to some audiobooks. I don't know. I mean, there's a manga that I want to read, and there's a bunch of shit that I need to get to. So I'm at this point where I can just procrastinate and not get into new shit because there's a bunch of shit that I want to get to, but I'm just like, put it to the side for now. But I feel like eventually I might get into audiobooks. It really depends on if I find something that sounds intriguing. I've heard about Brandon Sanderson, but I don't really know too much about him. Is he writes like mythology type shit, right? Or go ahead.
Fantasy and sci-fi.
Fantasy and sci-fi.
Yeah,
Hmm.
so his works are very good. Like he has the Cosmere, which is like a whole universe, and like each book series takes place on a different planet, and it's all interconnected, and some of the characters hop over to other worlds. And his magic systems are very well developed and very unique. Uh, like they're well thought out. Like I wouldn't say they're like Hunter x Hunter levels of thought out,
Well,
but
nothing can
like
fucking keep
near
up to that.
close. But it's some of them are very close. Like Allomancy and Mistborn, or like I forget what it's called. I think it's called Stormlight. Yeah, Stormlight in the Stormlight Archive. Like those power systems are very close to Hunter x Hunter. They're not as complex, but they're dang near close.
Well, let me ask you this: as someone that reads Hunter x Hunter, do you cringe when looking at One Piece like power systems? Because there's like this whole ongoing debate about, well, Luffy took 2 years to learn just the basics, but in fucking 10 hours he could learn advanced observation, and now Kaido's supposed to be someone that he can withstand any marine, like no one can kill him. Even the Yonkos are not capable of killing him, but Luffy in like fucking a week he learned like this incredibly dangerous Rio, and like all of it is just not well explained, and you can see holes in it, and it's just hard to tell what's going on during the fights and shit if he's even using advanced observation. Like, what do you think about that? Does that make you cringe?
No.
No?
Do you know my name? My name is DBZ Child. Like DBZ
True,
doesn't have
true.
the exact like best or most in-depth power system or magic system. It's just guys. It just gives more excuses for cool explosions and guys punching each other, and I can always
It's at least easy
enjoy
to
that.
tell what's going on though. And sometimes
I
like
mean,
I'm not
yeah,
gonna say it's completely consistent, but I feel like a lot of the time that it's fairly all right.
a lot of the time with the One Piece hockey criticism, I think it's pretty clear. I don't really have much of an issue with it. I I know some people complaining about the inconsistencies, but my problem with their complaints is that if we went along with what they want, like a really nuanced, a really well in depth, a really well informed power system, it wouldn't be One Piece. Because at this point, we've been going for like 20 plus years, and if Oda slowed it down even more to explain the power system and so Luffy can develop it naturally, it would just take way too long. And at this point, One Piece just needs to go on. You can't just keep dragging things out at this point. So I can understand the criticism. I just don't think it's a valid one.
Well, to me, I feel like Oda doesn't make the best use of his time. So it's not like it's literally out of his hands and he's doing everything possible to give fast pacing. Like he wastes a lot of time on shit that I would consider irrelevant. So there's that, and then yeah, like another part of it is probably just the fan base. Like people make shit out to be more fucking nuanced than it really is, and then you just get into a bunch of debates that probably shouldn't be brought up in the first place. And it kind of like gives you this impression that everything needs to be explained more. But I can kind of agree with you. Like a lot of it is pretty obvious, and there's not much that like there's stuff that needs to be explained, but it's not so bad that like every chapter you're like, what the fuck is going on? I have no idea. But sometimes like when you're reading battles, like for example, like people are like, is Luffy even using Rio when he's attacking Kaido? We don't know. And I'm like, he probably is because his Gear 4 attacks did no damage to him, and now he's doing good damage. So that would probably imply it, yeah, and that's fairly obvious. But it's just like no, visual indicators, and so like the fact that people are even having a debate like that is kind of like that's fucking wild.
Good point. If people didn't engage in these discussions, these in-depth discussions or debates, would we even be talking about this? Most likely
Nope.
not.
Yeah. No. Nope.
Um, because the only reason why they want it to be clear is so that their debate topics and their discussion points, their talking points, can be proven. So since Oda's not doing it, they blame Oda for not being able to convince themselves that, hey, my talking point or my my argument is correct.
Mm. Yeah, I feel you. And in another aspect, though, it's like if everything was more obvious, there wouldn't really be that much shit to debate. So, in
It's
another
true.
sense, I don't think it's completely like that. They just want shit to be clear so they can actually know.
Yeah, I'm all for like clarity. Like I do think like there's some things that Oda needs to clarify as far as hockey, like Conqueror's hockey. How does it work? We just only know like the basic level of it knocking people out. How does that like destroy mountains and stuff and hockey class? How does that improve your hockey and stuff like that? I wouldn't mind Oda clarifying, but you can also make the argument that he's saving it for a time where it's needed, like he did with Rio.
Yeah, that's what I
Um,
was gonna say.
so so I guess we just need to wait and see. That's always been Oda's approach in One Piece.
Yep,
Waiting and see.
wait and see, bro. Just wait and see. Every week,
Wait
just
and see.
wait and see.
Oh,
I mean,
Sanji's gonna do something good. Just wait and see.
yep. I mean, you can't even like completely fault that argument because it is true. Like almost every plot point to really criticize it, you have to know why he didn't go the specific route you want, and then in hindsight compare it. So for these moments, like if he gives hockey info dumps later on, and it feels like it was placed at a good moment, then yeah, there might be good counter arguments to some of the arguments right now. But yeah, it is pretty tiresome when it's just wait and see, bro. Just wait and see. Just keep waiting and seeing. Like I made some joke where it's like Oda makes an asshole, right? And well, we don't know for a fact it's an asshole, but it's like it's pretty hard to argue against it. And I'm just like, as a One Piece stan, you can't argue this for a fact or argue it at all until One Piece ends, until we get One Piece Boruto, until Oda dies and they spend 20 years investigating his house to find, just in case they find some secret letter where he like took down a bunch of notes and it explains that this one thing isn't an asshole. Until then, you can't say shit, bro. You can't say anything. You just gotta wait and see.
I think that honestly, when I was in the community, the 2 year time skip that I took actually helped me appreciate One Piece more. I would say this that being in the community, it actually made me hate One Piece for a while,
That's pretty
and
funny.
then when I took a step back and I actually just actually started looking at One Piece, enjoying One Piece. I'm like, hey, this is a good story. And as me being coming in the process of wanting to become a writer, because I eventually want to write my own novels and my own draw my own web comic and stuff like that. Um, I can enjoy One Piece for what it is. I think a lot of people like the criticism back in the day that I used to make me hate One Piece is not really good criticism, especially in the community. I think a lot of the criticism that the community like throws at One Piece isn't very good criticism. It's mostly like 99% of it is Oda didn't do what I want to do, therefore One Piece sucks.
I mean, it depends who you're talking to. I'm not gonna lie and say a shit ton of people don't talk out their ass. Like, obviously, in a big community, you're gonna have a bunch of idiots that just say whatever they say to, try to prove their argument right. But I've seen a lot of valid criticism at the same time. So, I mean,
A valid criticism of One Piece off the top.
fucking for Wano, Oda doing a bad job at building up the relationships with regarding Odin and just making you care about Wano in general.
That's interesting because the anime has been doing a way better job than the manga
Hmm.
in that regard.
I haven't
So
been
I can
seeing
see
it.
where you're coming from, but I don't really think that's a big issue or something that Oda was trying to drive home. So I don't necessarily see that as a valid criticism.
I mean, you don't think it was a big issue? Because so much of it was in regards to just learning about Odin's story and a lot like Yeah, the Straw Hats, for example, aren't very emotionally invested in Wano, or at least Oda didn't do a good job of selling that home. But so much of the plot has been revolving around that it's hard it's hard to say that it's not something that Oda is like not a big part of Wano, you know?
You're saying that if Oda developed a relationship between the Scabbards and Odin, is that what you're like? You wanted him to do that?
I wanted him to do that. I wanted him to give Odin more characterization and more moments. I wanted him to make the Straw Hats care about Wano more, get them emotionally invested in the stakes. Uh, yeah, just give everyone more characterization. Really, I feel like Wano's been very bland in terms of characterization. What we've gotten, I haven't liked, and then I feel like we could have gotten a lot more. Like, can you name me like some like moments in Wano where you're like, damn, that was a good character interaction?
Odin, like almost all of Odin's backstory, like Odin versus Whitebeard, like Odin versus Roger, all that stuff was really good. It showed Odin's character completely. I loved Odin's backstory. Like he was just like this crazy samurai that just wanted to go on an adventure. Very simple and very relatable. Like who like everybody can relate to. Hey, you're stuck here in a place that you don't want to be. You want to go out there and experience something. Anybody can relate to that. And I think like his relationship with the scabbard. I don't think that needed to be expanded upon more because what else could Oda tell us? Hey, these guys really love Odin. Well, how else could he expand upon that? I guess you can say that he can use like more moments to show how close they were and stuff like that. But from like Kinemon and the past arcs and Kanjiro, well, Kanjiro was a traitor, but I'm talking about like before we knew he was a traitor. And Raizo, we see how devoted they were to the cause about bringing the Straw Hats to Wano and opening the borders. That showed how devoted they were to Odin. That even 20 years later, they were still wanting to fulfill his commands and his desires and his dreams.
To me,
That
that
goes to
that just
show you.
makes it seem even more troll though. It's like this guy never even cared to have a conversation with you. He just like did the bare minimum. And he's like take care. Like he never showed any interest in y'all. Y'all so obsessed with him. You're
That's
like,
true.
I must get through this for my master, my close friend Odin. And it's like, okay, Odin can be simple. I'm not saying simple characters can't work, but just like the wording of the dialogue, it was very bland for like most of the scenes. Like you can write the scabbards like showing their affection for Odin and like them getting along, and just that one idea, like ideas versus execution. Like you can have something simple as the scabbards, they like Odin and they like being in his company, and you can just expand on it with even like small moments where it just shows dynamics between them. Like they don't really have a dynamic other than Odin is a good guy and they like how he's a badass and he's honorable.
I don't know how much of this is like jaded because of I watched the anime and I know the anime does a lot of filler. I think the anime does a great job of like expanding upon that. Like for instance, we learned that Odin, he's pretty much a big manly tsundere, where he likes these guys but he tries not to show it. And I think that was the dynamic where they always were wrestling him to do his duty and he was just like a big man child. I think that was the dynamic there. But I don't know if that's versus the like that was how it was portrayed in the manga versus the anime because I didn't read that part. I just watched the anime.
Well, there's some aspects of that in the manga. I would just like to learn why you're a tsundere, and then why the scabbards would. Giving that's the case, why would they like you so much? Where you did like it's from their point of view, it should be like you're doing the bare minimum effort to just even maintain a relationship with them. I don't know. I would just like something deeper.
Like in the anime, it said like Kinemon he saved Kinemon. Denjiro just thought he was cool. He saved
Tanjiro
Kawamatsu,
just thought he was cool.
Nekomamushi, Nekomamushi, Inarashi, and the Izo and Hiku. So most of them had their lives changed and saved by Odin. So that's why they were so devoted to him. Except for Izo, except for Denjiro, he just thought he was cool. He's the only one that I agree with.
Yeah, but man, like it gets to a certain point where it's like this happens a lot in One Piece and just entertainment in general, where someone does
Yeah,
something good for me. Now that's like the only like baseline connection I need to establish this relationship, and I don't need to expand on it any further. Man was honorable, did good for me, me fan. You know, like it
I
happens a
could,
lot.
I could,
It happens a lot with Luffy, for example, like
yeah.
with Lucy. She give me food, me like her, me help her.
I could see what you mean. Like you're just like desiring something more in depth. Like you want
Yeah.
something to at least like Oda to give you a little bit more meat on your platter.
To me, I find it really relatable when characters have self-worth, and part of having self-worth
Yeah.
is not just being okay with someone not wanting to get to know you or like have any discourse with you and still being okay with being their friend. Like a normal person will be like, well, this guy is giving the bare minimum effort. Well, fuck him. I don't care. I'll just hang out with actual friends. You understand what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying. You just want more character agency.
Yeah. Just more focus in general.
Like you want the characters like the Scabbards to get mad at Odin, like, hey, what are you doing, or something like that. Just more in-depth characterization.
Yeah, pretty much.
And in your opinion, would that improve Wano significantly?
For me, hell yeah. I mean, yeah, for sure. A lot of it, I feel like, I don't know, like it just comes down to conveniences. There was a lot of conveniences with Wano in general, and a lot of plot lines. Like it seems like Oda has so many plot lines that he wants to get through that he does so much of them like the bare minimum, like just the bare minimum to make it what he thinks interesting. And it's like at this point, quantity over quality. It's like a bunch of plot lines that you're like, but maybe he does enough to keep your interest, and then it just keeps you reading. That's how I feel about Wano.
How much of that is him getting older and wanting to end One Piece? Do you think?
That probably definitely plays a part, but I just feel like he wastes a lot of time. Like if you'll see my reviews on like the recent chapters, especially the last one, I think it was the last one, like the one right before the Hyogoro chapter. I just felt like that chapter was a huge waste of time. I just feel like fodder being like a big highlight in One Piece is kind of nonsensical with how overpowered the strong guys are. So he like goes out of his way to like write running scenes where people are running and it's like not much actual, development is happening or not much plot progression, but it's like a gag or something, or they say like something that doesn't matter that much. And it's like he almost goes out of his way to prolong the story. Where I hate when people say that, well, Oda just can't do 100 chapters because he's getting old. And I'm like, well, other authors can
He's actually
probably.
pretty young. He's like in his 40s.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like other authors, they can and have crammed in like so much more information and it didn't feel forced or rushed in like the same amount of time frame that Oda would like spend to write, way more chapters. And it's like he's not doing this because he's literally perfect and he can't do anything else without expanding it. It's just he's not making good use of the amount of chapters he has. And I'm not saying that's literally every chapter, but a lot of the time it feels like Oda's wasting time. So it's kind of like he's biting himself in his own
Understand
ass.
him. I
What?
can understand how he feels and why he does that. Because when I was writing my story over the 2 years, I would do that constantly. I needed a character to be at from point A to point B, but in order for me to get to that B plot point, I had to put in some filler to prolong it in order for it to make sense. You know, and so I can understand why a writer's process in that regard and how he wants to go a certain way, but something has to happen in order for that to get to. It's like you're on the entree. I mean, on the appetizer, but you want to get to the meat and potatoes. But you gotta get to the appetizer before you can get to the meat and potatoes. So I can understand, and especially since Oda does that a lot. But I can understand why you're annoyed by it.
Yeah,
And
I think there's a lot of
and
factors. Like one thing is that it's a weekly thing, so he wants to
yes,
have a certain cliffhanger at the end, and depending on what the cliffhanger is, he wants that to fit a certain flow with the future events. So he might think that he needs to pad out this chapter, and it's even easier to do that when the Straw Hat's all split up all the time. So you can just like show a little bit of what each person is doing, and that's just a really easy way to pad out the chapter. And it just really depends. Like it goes back to the wait and see thing where you don't know, you can't really tell what exactly his intention is with the flow of the story because he wants everything to line up to where climax after climax, and the climax keeps getting like higher and higher. Like Robin gets a climax, Nami does, and then we get to the Monster Trio's climax, and then Luffy's climax at the end. Like he wants to fit everything in the specific vision he has, and yeah, it just sometimes ends up padding out the story.
to switch gears a little bit because I watched your video on what was it? What was that Kingdom arc? You remember how bad I am with names, right?
The Juko arc.
Juco arc, yes. I watched that video, and in it, you said something that I found very interesting. You said that you don't think Riboko deserves the hype that he gets based on his feats. Do you still believe that?
Uh, what I'm saying is his inverse reputation. Like for
Okay.
example, like someone like Ordo, they don't have to know exactly what Riboku does or did to beat Oki, but they're like, you beat Oki, you deserve the reputation of being a top general, like China's most dangerous general. So in that case, if Osen beats Riboku, you should not have this idea that they're gonna lose no matter what. Like they already beat him. You should be like, this is a 50-50 battle. Like they could beat him, maybe they don't. Like it's a risky battle for Zhao to take. They could very well lose this. And instead, like it feels like no matter what happens to Riboku, no matter what Ellie takes, unless it's like a very obvious like horrific one, which hasn't happened yet, of course. It's like everyone's gonna have this mindset of like, you can't beat Riboku. It's literally impossible. And it's like, how many times does he have to be beaten before you realize it's not impossible?
So so you don't you think Usin deserves more credit than Reboko?
That's debatable, but the thing is, it's not just Osen, it's Konki, it's Yotanwa, it's the M3 there, and Osen's generals. Like, that's a lot of firepower.
Yeah. That Reboko, he gets way more credit than he deserves, pretty much.
Yeah,
And the others should be getting like half the like more credit than he gets.
pretty much, yeah. I feel like Osen should definitely, and maybe he is, and we just haven't seen it yet, but he should definitely be considered up there with Riboku in terms of inverse, or at least one of the most dangerous generals in China.
I definitely think like is it Osen or Usen? I don't,
It's Osen.
whatever. Osen. I definitely think Osen is a major threat, and he's up there with Reboko. But I think the Zao arc proved that Reboko is better than him, honestly,
Why do you say that?
because Osen he took advantage of all the things that Reboko didn't have. So he did his job. But if Reboko had even a little bit of support from the capital, none of that is happening.
Well, why would that mean Riboku's better?
I mean, that means that Reboko, like you can see how Hara was wanking him so hard. Like every single thing that went bad, Hara was saying, "Oh, here's why. Oh, he doesn't have support of the king. Ah, this went wrong. Oh, this." Like that's why the reason, like the wanking in that regard. Like if Reboko had like even playing field, Reboko had everything going for him. Like he had like the same level of troops that like Osen had. I think Reboko is cleaning him. I think that's what that arc showed.
Well, with the Locust plan, it was basically just Haru saying through Riboku that he just got caught with his pants down. He didn't see this coming. So that's one thing. And then
Yeah.
with the other thing, the crane formation, yet another moment where it's like no real excuse for Riboku there. If anything, I would say that was more for Osen because even with the Mako situation, I have my gripes with it regarding the Haishin unit killing Kisu, but not even involving that. It's just like the excuse Riboku made where he was like, it's he doesn't know I can do this because I used to be an assassin, and nothing in that nothing in that engagement tells me he needed to be an assassin to pull that off. So it's kind of like making Riboku look worse to an extent because he's not saying I can pull this off and he's not going to expect it because I'm smarter than him. It's because of my past experience that he won't expect this. So it's kind of like making an excuse for Osun there, even when it wasn't needed. Because I feel like you can make way better excuses than that. So I feel like it's in some extent like it was even more so for Osun. And even for Riboku, like some moments where he was like, "There's no way the Haishin unit could beat Chogaryu." I'm like, "Are you smoking crack, my dude?" Like, okay, I can understand being confident in Chogaryu, but look at all the things the Haishin unit has done in the entire story, let alone in this war, to like completely count them out against Chogaryu while in the same light portraying Osen as I know for a fact that the Haishin unit is gonna win this, and it's kind of like, well, Hara is proving Osen right, and he's making Riboku look like he's vastly underestimating them.
That's what you're saying. Um, but would you agree that if they both had the same level of troops, the same amount of support on the same battlefield, that Roboco's coming out on top? Would you say that?
I would not. I mean, are we literally like giving them? 'Cause it's hard to say because he has